Welcome back.
Stipulate to the presence of the jury, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very good. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you some time to get your notebooks ready, assuming you're all set. We are prepared to move forward with evidence again today. Court will direct the state to call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would call Lieutenant James Froelich, please.
Thank you. Sir, come on up, please. Step into the witness box. Please watch your step as you do that. And if you wouldn't mind, please remain standing. Madam Clerk will put you to oath. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear, solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your full name, spell your last name.
Thank you, sir. You may be seated.
Good morning, Officer Froelich. How are you?
Good morning.
First of all, I'm going to ask you, that microphone in front of you does a poor job amplifying, so if you can kind of pull yourself in just get as close to it as you're comfortable, and then just remember to keep your voice up so that we can hear your testimony, please.
Okay.
First of all, can you tell us who were you employed by?
The Ansonia Police Department.
How long, in what capacity?
I'm the lieutenant of the Ansonia Police Department right now.
More. How long have you been a lieutenant, or how long have you been a member of the Ansonia Police Department?
I've been employed by the Ansonia Police Department for about 24 years.
And can you tell us a little bit about your background, your training, and experience?
So when I first got hired, I went to the police academy. From there, I did numerous trainings. I did some accident reconstruction. I did some fingerprint analysis. While I was in my patrol years, I became promoted to detective. I did some detective schools, some other specialized training. And then I became the detective sergeant, and now currently a lieutenant.
All right. When you became sergeant, was that of the Detective Bureau?
Yes, sir.
And approximately what year was that? Did you become sergeant?
I think it was about 2016.
And I want to call your attention to the time period, December of 2019. Were you still an Ansonia police officer?
Yes, sir.
And what was your rank?
I was a detective sergeant.
And the Detective Bureau of the Ansonia Police Department in December of 2019, can you tell me how many detectives were in the Bureau at that time?
We had approximately 5 detectives, but one of them was out injured and one was assigned to a special assignment.
Okay. And did the 5 detectives include yourself, or would you have been the 6th?
I would be the 6th.
All right. And in December of 2019, as the detective sergeant, did you report to somebody?
Yes, Lieutenant Williams was I reported to Lieutenant Williams.
And what was his title?
He was lieutenant
Of
the Detective Bureau.
Detective Bureau. And so was the chain of command detective to you, and then you to Lieutenant Williams?
Yes, sir.
And do you know, did Lieutenant Williams, were there other lieutenants also in the Ansonia Police Department in December of 2019?
Yes.
How many others?
One other.
And did the lieutenants, who did they answer to?
Both lieutenants answered to the chief of police.
Okay. Now, I want to call your attention specifically to December the 2nd of 2019. Do you recall the evening hours of December 2nd, 2019? That was a Monday.
Yes, sir.
And were you working in the evening hours of Monday, December 2nd, 2019?
I was not. I was on my way to a training class that I was going to be starting the next day.
Okay. And where was that training supposed to take place?
At Mohegan Sun.
And where were you at approximately between 9 and 10 on Monday evening, December 2nd?
I was traveling in that direction.
Okay. Which direction?
Towards Mohegan Sun for the training.
Did you receive some type of a communication from Ansonia PD about an incident that occurred in town?
Yes, I received a call from Lieutenant Williams saying that we had a homicide and I need to.
Sustained.
Based upon not what was told you, that'd be hearsay, but based upon what you were told, what, if anything, did you do next?
I came back to the police department.
And did it take you some time to get back to the police department?
Yes.
Do you recall the weather conditions that you were driving through to get back to the police department that night?
Yeah, it was snowing out that night, so wasn't good for the roads.
And did you ultimately return to the Ansonia Police Department that night?
Yes, I did.
Do you know approximately what time you arrived?
I don't recall what time.
When you arrived at the Ansonia Police Department, what, if anything, happened once you got there?
Well, we all came together. We spoke about what was occurring and what we needed to do to go forward.
Are you referring to, were you working with some or all of your detectives at that time?
Yes, I'm not sure how many were in at that point, but I know Detective Esposito, Detective Hart, and Detective Oxox were either there or on their way in.
And did there come a point in time where you left 105, I'm sorry, where you left the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes.
And where did you go?
I went to 105 First Avenue in New Haven.
And what was at 105 First Avenue in New Haven?
We believe that's where Jose Morales lived.
And what was the purpose of going to 105 First Avenue?
Well, we were unsure of where Vanessa Morales was, so we're trying to locate her, and we assumed that he would be the next logical person to speak to since he was the father of Vanessa Morales.
Did you have any other information at that point in time with regard to Jose Morales and his connection to 6.5 Myrtle Avenue?
Well, the family members of Christina Holloway stated that he...
I'm not going to claim what they said, but with regard to, at that point, did Ansonia Police have any information with regard to a person who was seen leaving from 6.5 Myrtle?
Yes.
And what information did they have?
We had that Jose Morales had left the property at 6.5 on the 2nd.
Now, when you arrived at 6.5 Myrtle, do you know approximately what time it was?
Can you repeat that, please?
Do you know what time it was when you arrived, I'm sorry, at 105 First Street?
It was sometime after 3, maybe 3:45 in the morning.
So 3:45 a.m.
A.m.
And when you arrived at the scene, were you by yourself or were you with other people?
There was already some detective already on scene there, and I went with Detective Adcox when we also had some New Haven officers that were also on scene with us.
Did you make contact with individuals in the house?
Yes, we did.
And did there come a point in time where you were able to engage with Jose Morales?
Yes.
And the person that you engaged with that evening, do you see him sitting here in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
And can you please just point to where you see him seated and tell us what you see him wearing?
He's sitting right over there.
That he identified the defendant, Your Honor.
All right, court will note for the record the witness identified the defendant, Jose Morales.
He pointed at him for the record.
Thank you.
And is that the gentleman that you encountered at 105 First Avenue in the early morning hours of December the 2nd, well, what would be now December the 3rd of 2019?
Yes.
Because we're after midnight now, so by the time you got out there, would it have been the following morning now?
Yeah, it would be Tuesday the 3rd.
So now, did you engage Mr. Morales in conversation prior to leaving 105?
We spoke briefly. There was no interview done. It was just a brief conversation we had with him.
Did you explain to him why you wanted to talk with him?
We explained that we wanted to talk to him.
Yes and no answer.
Did you explain to him why you wanted to speak with him?
We explained to the family.
I'm sorry?
We explained to the family, and I can't recall if I specifically spoke to Morales directly.
All right. So, well, are you saying you did not speak to Mr. Morales while he was in his home at 105?
I did speak to him.
Okay. And did you explain to him why you would like for him to come back to the Ansonia Police Department?
Objection, Your Honor. Now the state is testifying for the witness. Objection to the form of the question.
I'll overrule that. You can answer the question.
I'll ask you the question again. Did you explain to Mr. Morales why you wanted to speak to him at
Yes.
the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes.
And what did you say to him?
That we were looking for Vanessa.
Now, with regard to, by that point in time, were you aware of the death of Christine Holloway?
Yes.
Did you tell Mr. Morales at that time that you were aware of the death of Christine Holloway?
No.
At the time, did you ask Mr. Morales to voluntarily accompany you back to the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes, we did.
And did he agree to go back to the Ansonia Police Department to talk with you?
Yes.
And how did there come a point in time that you left 105 First Avenue with Mr. Morales?
Yes.
And how did you get back to the Ansonia Police Department?
Detective Oxox had driven his vehicle. He drives a Dodge Durango with no markings of police. It was an unmarked vehicle, and we asked him to get into the rear of the vehicle, and he got in there, and we drove back.
Now, you indicated Detective Adcox drove his vehicle. Is that his personal vehicle, or is that an Ansonia Police Department vehicle?
It's a vehicle that he was assigned as being a detective at the Ansonia Police Department.
So it's a city police vehicle.
It's a city vehicle.
Now, when Mr. Morales was brought back to the Ansonia Police Department, first of all, was he in custody at that time?
He was not.
Was he arrested at that time?
He was not.
Was he handcuffed?
He was not handcuffed.
Talking about the ride back from 105 to the Ansonia Police Department, do you recall generally the route that you took?
Not really. I wasn't driving, so I was more focused on Jose Morales sitting in the back seat with me.
Okay. Did Mr. Morales apparently during the course of the trip, did he know where he was during the course of the trip?
During the course of...
False for speculation.
Sustained.
Did Mr. Morales at any point in time while you were sitting there indicate to you that he recognized where he was?
So during the ride, Mr. Morales said multiple times of, referring to Fairhaven, talked about, maybe what direction we should go, giving us pointers on where we are, background on New Haven at all.
Okay. So is it fair to say, as you were talking with him in the back of the car, Mr. Morales knew exactly where he was in New Haven at that time?
Yes.
Your Honor, same objection.
Your Honor, it's based upon his answer that he was narrating.
Oh, overruled.
So with regard to this, did Mr. Morales seem to know where he was?
Yes.
Did there come a point in time at all that Detective Adcox expressed frustration with regard to driving the car that you guys were in?
Yes.
And what was the cause of the frustration?
We were stopped at a light, and the light seemed to be taking a long period of time, and he was frustrated at the length of time it was taking for it to change to green.
And did he express that frustration somehow to the people in the car?
Yes.
And did Mr. Morales at that point in time offer a solution to Detective Adcox's frustration?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevancy.
Claim it, Your Honor. Goes the state of mind of Mr. Morales.
I'll give you a little bit of leeway here. I'll overrule the objection.
Did he offer a solution to Detective Adcox's frustration?
Yes, he told Detective Adcox, if you roll up a little bit more, maybe you can trip the light and cause it to turn green.
Did he specifically say with regard to what he would be tripping?
Just move up.
Is there something in the roadway that would cause the light to turn green?
Just the tripping of the light, the mechanism that trips the light.
I'm sorry?
The mechanism that trips the light.
Is there sensors or mechanisms in the roadway that trip lights?
Yes.
Okay. And was that Mr. Morales' solution to Detective Adcox to roll forward to trip the light sensor?
Yes.
Did Detective Adcox then roll the car forward?
Yes.
And what happened?
The light turned green, and we continued on.
At some point during the trip, did Mr. Morales say to you anything with regard to your smoking habits?
Yes.
What did he say to you?
So as we were traveling, there was a smell of cigar that came into the air and through our car. He asked me if I smoked cigars. I told him that I didn't, and I thought that the smell that he was smelling was marijuana.
And when he brought up this cigar smell and you retorted that it was marijuana, you thought, did Mr. Morales respond to that?
He, without me asking him anything, he said he doesn't smoke weed. He's a sober person. Every once in a while, he drinks a Bud Light or Corona.
Had you asked him at that point in time anything about his use of substances or alcohol?
No.
Did there come a point in time where you arrived at the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes.
How long approximately, do you know, was the trip from 105 to Ansonia PD?
It was approximately 30, 35 minutes it took us to get there.
At any point in time, well, withdrawn. When you earlier told us that you engaged Mr. Morales at 105 before leaving, did you tell us that you asked him to accompany you because you wanted to discuss the disappearance of Christine and Vanessa?
Objection to the form of the question.
Sustained.
Did Mr. Morales know why you were asking him to go to 105?
Yes.
The two.
Form of the question. Calls for speculation.
overruled. It was discussed earlier. Counsel, this has been asked and answered.
I understand. I'm bringing it back for the purpose of...
Get to the next question then.
Right.
Thanks.
So at that time, during this trip, did Mr. Morales at any time bring up Vanessa or Christine Holloway?
He brought it up very minimally. We didn't talk about it that much.
Do you remember any of the other substantive conversations that Mr. Morales brought up in this trip to the Ansonia Police Department?
We talked about the car that we was driving in, talked about our cell phones, talked about my rank, some other stuff.
I'm sorry, so who brought up the issue of the cell phone?
I don't remember.
Who brought up the discussion about the car that you were driving in?
I think he referred to us as it was a nice car that we're in, and he asked us if it was our personal vehicle.
And what you said ring, what did you mean by ring?
What was
Ring like on your finger?
I don't
I
know.
thought you said that he brought up a ring.
I don't recall saying a ring.
All right, perhaps I misheard you. Now, with regard to your arrival at Ansonia Police Department, I left you with the question about how long it took you to get to the Ansonia Police Department.
Yes, 30 to 35 minutes.
When you got to the Ansonia Police Department, the car that you arrived in, is there inside parking at the Ansonia Police Department?
No.
So the car that you arrived in was left outside?
Correct.
And it was snowing at that time?
Correct.
And you all went into the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes.
When you got into the Ansonia Police Department, where did you go?
We brought Jose Morales into the interview room. He asked for a bottle of water, which we gave to him, and I think maybe some tissues.
And I'm sorry, I know at the time of this, which building was Ansonia PD in at that time?
2 Elm Street.
Okay, so this is the old, what is now the old Ansonia Police Department.
Correct.
At that time, you brought him into an interview room, and I'm sorry, you got him what?
We asked him if he wanted a bottle of water. We got him a bottle of water, and I think maybe some tissues.
Okay. And the room that you brought him in, do you know, was it equipped with a camera?
Yes, it had 2 audio recording cameras in the room.
And when you brought him into the room, what was the purpose of bringing him into the room?
So we discussed why we brought him there, to speak about where possibly Vanessa could be.
And at that point in time, were the cameras rolling?
Yes.
And was an interview conducted with Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Showing you what has been marked states 170 for identification, can you tell me whether you generally recognize what this is?
Yes.
What do you recognize it to be?
It's the Jose Morales interview, the interview room, on 12/3/2019.
And did you view this interview at some point prior to coming into court today and testifying?
Yes, I did.
And how are you aware that you saw this interview?
I have initialed it and put my badge number on it.
And do you see your initials and your badge number on it at this point in time?
Yes, I do.
Was it a fair and accurate representation of the interview which you conducted of Jose Morales on December the 3rd of 2019?
Yes, that me and Detective Acox did.
Thank you. I'll offer this now, Your Honor. States 170.
Your Honor, I had an opportunity to review the video. I have no objection to its introduction as a full exhibit.
All right, no objection. Court will accept into evidence states 174.
Can I use the bathroom right now? No, you good? Let's go this guy, so. Let's go take this. Give me a second. I'm bringing you a bottle of water.
Thank you.
Now, Detective Froelich, I'm seeing the date December the 3rd of 2019. Was that the date of this interview?
Yes.
I'm also seeing a marking 05/42/31, at least on the screen now. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what the significance of that is?
Well, that would be the recorded time of the interview, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the correct time.
Okay.
I didn't verify that.
Well, do you know, you indicated you arrived at 105 First Avenue at what time approximately?
Approximately like 3:45 in the morning on the
And
3rd.
how long were you there before leaving?
I'm not sure, maybe 20 minutes, half hour. I'm speculating at that.
And then it took you how long to get back to the Ansonia Police Department?
30 to 35 minutes.
So is it fair to say that at least from the time that you arrived at Ansonia to the time you got back, that was at least over an hour?
Yes.
So are we safe to say that this is sometime at least after 5 a.m. in the morning?
Probably.
All right.
Officer. Yes, sir. Can you get me back here, please? Take your stuff there. Yeah, can you take somewhere else? Yeah.
So where'd you grow up in Maine?
Yeah.
Why you
Well, in 1989, we came to the United States. We went to detention. We did detention. We were uncle for a year or 2 years, I think. Then we moved into Maine, to Maine. And then I grew up there. That's how I grew up.
So you're, where'd you come from? You lived with your uncle, you said first?
I first, yeah, my mother and my brother were with.
How old was your brother when you passed?
Yeah, he was 33.
And then?
So, we came over here. So the case, I go with that my uncle lived here in the United States. We lived in Puerto Rico. He went to Puerto Rico to visit, and my cousins were telling us about snow. I can't believe it. We're like, no. So we started bugging my father, my real father. Can we go through this? He said, okay. So we ended up making a trip here to visit in the wintertime to see the snow and stuff like that. So we came to visit the church and all. And this is how it was right behind the cousins. And we stood there. So when we were there, my father was abusive, very abusive. So when we were there, I'm talking about when we were there, he got into a fight with my mother. So my uncle didn't appreciate that. So my father and my uncle got into an argument. So my father says, take me to the airport, take me to the airport. My uncle said, took me to the airport. My father says, I'm going to go away, right? My mom and us were supposed to go back to the station. My uncle and my aunt still told me, no, you don't have to go through that. Because in Puerto Rico, those are different. In Puerto Rico, you can beat your wife. The police come and go to do nothing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the police is it's a machismo kind of country. Everybody really don't need that. But not these days. That was back then.
Yeah.
I was like, not right now, we're living like another state. Right. You know, it's like right now it's the same, but it's still it's not as spring with the road as America. America is 100%, you know, quality. Things like that. Over there, man gets a good with more stuff. So
So you can stay here?
yeah, we stay here.
And you went back?
stay here, and we never went.
Yeah.
We stay here. So we stayed at my uncle's shelter for a while. And then, I guess he helped my mother out or whatever, how to get to state and stuff like that, so he moved to some here. So right here.
How you like going on your head?
Right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, if we're just getting shut, well, I would shut out. Right there. I was like, a little tired, buddy.
Yeah. You should be tired too.
You know? Well, I mean, a few hours, I was just stay around 9.
You did?
Yeah. Me and my son, we were watching TV, we were watching The Arrow. So we were watching the show, and my son said, Papi, I'm passing out. They have Italian. Their mother's Italian.
Can they speak Italian?
No.
Oh.
English and a little Spanish.
You're not teaching us Spanish?
Well, they understand 100% Spanish.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to speak it. A few words they don't speak it. But then, like, if I speak to them in Spanish, they understand.
Now, Lieutenant Froelich, can you tell us who was the gentleman that just entered the room?
Detective Babcox.
And was he part of taking the statement with you and Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Jose, what's your last name, Morales?
Yeah.
What's your date of birth?
11/12/1976.
Even though the door is kind of closed, you're free to leave. We brought you here to talk to you. You understand you're.
I'm free to leave. Well, no, why I'm going to home?
No, you're right. I'm just saying you're not home captain here. I'm not like.
So why I came here for?
To talk to you.
About what?
You're trying to find Christine and your kid.
Okay, well, that's exactly what I've been trying to call her to.
Okay.
All right?
All right. So the.
We're on the same page.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's, I'd rather have it that way. When's the last time you talked to her?
I talked to her, I think it was Monday morning, when she was going to work.
That was yesterday.
Yeah.
About what time?
Early in the morning.
Okay. So I was talking on the phone or in person?
Yeah.
On the phone. Did she say anything? Was there a problem? Was there any kind of issue? No argument?
No.
Did you hear anything in the background? She didn't sound like she was having any problems? Did she sound different than your normal conversations?
Well, it was super fast. It's like she couldn't get the phone. That kind of got me like she don't understand the phone. Like I called her, she don't understand the phone. I don't.
Or just give you short answers and try
And
to,
quick, like I probably spoke to her for less than a minute. Probably quick.
that's not normal?
That's not normal. Well, it is and it isn't because sometimes we, for a while, sometimes it was early in the morning, so.
Okay. Did you stay over there this weekend?
No.
You didn't stay over there this weekend? Do you normally stay over there during the weekend?
Sometimes I do, yeah. Not normally, but sometimes I stay over.
All right, so when's the last time you saw her in person?
Friday,
Where was that?
at my house.
Yeah.
Where we picked me up,
She was there?
yeah.
Okay, with Vanessa?
Yeah.
Okay, so left, so it was Friday, you were with her
Yes.
and Vanessa.
She came over to our house.
She came to visit you,
Yeah.
so she drove?
Yeah. No, wait. Thanksgiving Eve,
It's Thursday.
Thursday,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Eve, she came over and she slept over at my house. Her and Vanessa.
She slipped over, okay.
Wednesday, wait up, let me get that right. Wednesday, after work, Wednesday, she got out of work around 3. She had an early day.
So Wednesday, out at 3.
Yeah, so I said to her, pack all this stuff and come over because my mom said you can stay over
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving holiday, whatever, so to spend Thanksgiving. So she came over with Vanessa from work, right before work, she packed the car, she came over with Vanessa right before work. And she slept over.
So Wednesday night, she slept over.
Yeah.
So Thursday, she hangs
slept
out.
over too.
She hangs out with you guys Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then when does she leave?
Friday.
So she slept over again.
She slept over on Friday day, not from Friday to Saturday.
Right.
From Thursday to Friday.
So Wednesday to Thursday, Thursday to Friday.
Exactly.
And then when did she leave on Friday?
Probably around, I'm not sure. Somewhere in the afternoon around 6, I think.
So at night, evening, like around dinner time?
Yeah.
All right. Did she leave by herself?
Yeah, with Vanessa.
With Vanessa?
Yeah.
And you're assuming she went home?
Exactly. I assume it, yeah. Or you went up this year?
I don't know where she goes.
Does she have any friends that she hangs out with?
No. Well, we have boyfriend, girlfriend.
You guys are.
Yeah, but we're not that close either. Because she got her own place, she do it online, she got her own apartment. When she got this apartment over here, she asked me if I can help her out, like, with the lease, because I guess the landlord over here, they want to give her to her by herself. So she said, because I had a good job at the time, that's why I had a good job at the time. He said, can you help us? And we did it. I said, okay. I signed the paper, she gave her paper, I signed it, I said, okay. So she got an apartment. Because she used to live with her brother Steven and Charlotte. That's where she lived for like 3 years. She was living there when we met. Before that, she lived in Richmond. Then, when she got pregnant, or like we were dating when she was living with Steven, or it was Steven, and then we gave to her, or whatever. Right before the baby was about to be born, Steven said, you gotta leave. He kicked her out. I don't want to hear babies crying in my house, because she was a roommate type of thing, she give her hand. But now Steven had a new girlfriend. The reason she moved in with Steven was because she was helping him pay her rent. But then he had a girlfriend that was helping him, so now she could get a third wheel. So then the baby, so they asked her, she got a wallet out. She started looking for an apartment, so looking for an apartment. She started looking for an apartment, so she found this apartment in somewhere around here in Charlotte. No, this Charlotte, it's somewhere.
Where, is it the same apartment she's in, right?
Yeah, that's what she found that apartment. So, listen, yeah.
So make sure I get this right. She left your house, or your parents' house, on Friday,
Yeah,
with Vanessa.
yeah,
You didn't go with her?
no.
So where did you stay over the weekend?
I stayed with my friend Hector.
Hector.
He was in the state.
What's Hector's last name? Last name. You know where he lives in East Haven? Does he know your Christine? Or he doesn't know her? So he has no idea who Christine is.
You know that girlfriend is like,
Christine your only girlfriend? Or you got another girlfriends? She has other boyfriends?
we're not that close.
Right.
It's like, we have a baby,
Yeah.
but it's not like she my girlfriend. You say that, even though we're very lady, but we have a baby together, that happened, so I guess I have a super little bit of responsibility by helping her out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, so we ended up with the baby, so we let her come over and stay over our house, and holiday and things like that for the baby.
So you do all that for Vanessa?
Yeah, it's for
It's not for Christine?
It's not for Christine, it's for Vanessa. It's like,
So your family likes
it's not
Vanessa?
Vanessa, yeah. We really don't like Christine. She said she okay. No, but all right, just saying. You know Vanessa.
I mean, do you have any idea where she would be?
No.
Zero.
Zero.
No idea where a 1-year-old would be.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
No.
And Christine's an adult, so I mean, we're concerned
But
about it.
Christine is Vanessa. I figured.
Okay. I'm saying an adult's an adult, they can come and go and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
A 1-year-old's at first and 4 was with them.
Yeah. When she forgot that's another.
Maybe it was together.
Well, Christine said it was her. Right.
On Friday?
So then were you at the house at all this weekend? Her house, Christine's?
Not the weekend.
Did you go there, take anything out, drop anything off?
On. No, sure.
What's your cell phone number?
203 809 2849
281?
49.
49?
That's the one you have in your pocket. What about that one right there?
It's not exactly one.
You put one on.
So last time you called and talked to her was for that minute or so?
Monday morning.
Monday morning. And it was a short conversation, and she seemed like she didn't want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
What did you call her for?
Say hi. So see what's special for him.
You talked to Vanessa? You think it was off? I don't even know if you froze her ears.
So no idea where we can start trying to find her?
You don't know any of her friends?
And you don't know about her hanging out with other guys?
She probably was.
Well, then she probably wasn't. I mean, I don't know, I'm just asking you if you knew somebody that you would be hanging out with right now. I would look out at the door and say, hey, it's Christine and Vanessa here.
Can you, would you show me the phone call that you made to Vanessa on the line? On your phone, please?
Okay. You see when I talk to her, and they trying to
I don't know if you have her, there's a video of her.
Yeah. Waiting for her name. No serious.
Down calls. So you just had one,
This is from, I've been trying to call her.
and you had a deal with him?
That's me trying to call her.
You got a bunch of phone calls from today, that's,
Me trying to call her.
yeah.
Cause I was working, so I keep trying to call, keep trying to call, keep trying to call. He goes straight to voicemail.
Right now it's the third. Yesterday was the second.
So she called her at 6:59 p.m.
On today, I mean,
Monday.
I keep trying to call her.
There was no call.
She goes to her voicemail.
Yeah, but it should still show that you dialed it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you called December 2nd, 6:59, 8, 12, 8:34, 9:04. Did you erase stuff?
I only delete all my, I pretty much delete, I delete all my calls and stuff.
You didn't delete these some of them.
I'll delete it right now, and I'll
Oh, maybe we want to.
What is that? My phone.
Because schools are closed today.
Other computer, they were gonna have holiday,
Yours.
younger? I think somebody was school today.
Did you use this phone to call her or definitely that phone?
That phone right there is not, looking at it.
Can you take a look at it? Can you show us the call log on it?
This phone trying to do a market? Huh?
Yeah, show us the call log.
Did you use the phone? Is this phone, there's no calls in the morning?
There's no,
What's that down there? Are you doing anything? Did you remember the reason? you that just use that for the internet?
Shouldn't have just gone down, then or something.
Wait, there's school today, so.
You hear me? Is not canceled?
I'm not in here, so. I don't know.
How many calls you got in here are the 7 to try to get hold of her? You didn't call anybody else?
No, because I've been worried. I'm not trying to call in. I said try to FaceTime her. Well, not. We've been working for Vanessa.
Can you try to get like the missed calls and stuff like that, Liz? Or,
I don't know, my phone is bugged out. My phone died out. Is it a smartphone?
Jose, when did you go to Edgar's house?
Friday.
When Friday?
Friday night.
When did you come home? What time roughly?
So in my house?
Yeah.
So around 11?
Yeah.
During the day, that's sure.
End of the day?
During the day, not sure during the day.
Did you have the cell phone out with you? No. Does anybody else use that cell phone or do you don't really use it? Like, so if you left the house, would you have that cell phone?
If I left my house? Yeah, I'm not phone.
I just find it odd that there's no other phone calls on there. No received calls, no missed calls.
This phone is bugged out. The reason why this phone is bugged out is because you see how we got the bars? Once it dies, it deletes everything, it dies, and then like right now you have 4 service days. I got 4,000 minutes, 4 service days. It's a super old phone.
What service is it?
It's a super old phone. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. Who's mobile? I think.
Jose, did you tell your parents where you went on Friday?
Yeah.
Where did you tell them why?
Yeah. Listen. Yeah. Listen. Listen what?
Your dad said you went to Christine's Friday with her. Why would you tell me that?
He said I went to this. Yes. Probably that's what he thought I were.
Why would you? You said you told him where you went. And if you told him you went to Edgar's,
She got her own car.
Right, but why would you tell me that you went to Christine's if you told him where you went?
Why would he tell? He probably assumed.
Right, you said you told him where you went.
I told him my father.
Yeah, you just told me you said you told him where you went.
I told my father where I went.
Yeah, that's what you told me. And that's why I said, why did you tell me you went to Christine's if you did?
I told my father that I went to Christine.
That's what you just told me about 30 seconds ago.
I'm not sure. You're missing my words. You wrote that down?
But you said that you told your father where you went. And you telling us you went to Hector's. Right?
Yes,
So
that's
you told
right.
us.
I went to
Yeah.
Hector.
Yeah, so you
I didn't,
told,
I didn't tell my father when I went to Hector.
Yeah.
That's where I went.
and when Detective Act asked you if you told your father where you went, you said yes.
But it's a whole misunderstanding.
Fine. So how did Christine get to your house on Wednesday?
Control.
In what kind of car?
And car, I'm not sure.
You know what kind of car she has?
When I stopped for it.
I'm not sure what color is it?
No, this thing.
Did you buy your new car? It's not a trick question. Just ask if you know she bought a new car.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
How does your dad know?
He knows what?
That she bought a new car.
Well, I guess she
Your dad knows a lot of stuff.
I guess she bought a new car.
Did you know she bought a new car?
I think she did. Yeah, I think she bought a new car. I
Right.
know, since I know her, she has the same car. I think she bought a new car.
So how did you get to Hector's?
I think my car.
What car is that?
Nissan.
Can you tell me what?
Central.
Is it registered to you?
Mm-hmm.
So you drove the actors?
And that's it. But I don't know about it.
John, how are you gonna help us find Vanessa? That's what you're here for, help us find Vanessa. We wanna find the 1-year-old. And we
I want to find her too.
You need your help, it's one of the reasons we brought you here.
Did you call the police when Steve came to your house and said Vanessa and?
Steve called the police right there. He was right there.
So he's the uncle, all right?
He's the one that killed Christina.
Are you 100% sure that Vanessa is your kid?
I don't have no DNA test, but I was going to say, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have a DNA test, but I was supposed to like, yeah.
I mean, because if someone came to my house and said Vanessa's missing, and it's not his 1-year-old daughter.
I'm worried. That's why I keep trying to call my kid.
You live the whole right here, you talk about everything but her. The whole right here, you didn't talk about a 1-year-old daughter that's missing. I don't get that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we gotta find her. And the only reason you're here
Is to find her.
is to help us find her.
All right, so it's fine.
So where is she?
I don't know.
So you have no idea.
I feel like you don't want to give us any information. Your father's given us more information that you're willing. And
She
you would know every single piece of information that your father would know.
She was Christine, that's what I know.
Christine's a big girl. I'm not worried about Christine. I'm worried about a 1-year-old that has no control over her life. Zero. That's what I want to find.
All right.
Not 4-year-old Christine or however old she is. I'm here to find your daughter.
Okay, that's fine.
Like I said, I find it absolutely bizarre that the whole right here.
So what do you think? Did I have my daughter here somewhere?
I don't know. I'm asking you for help to find her. I don't know. You have no idea where she could be, nor did you even really talk about it on the whole ride.
So let's talk about it then.
Do you have your daughter?
Do you know where your daughter is?
No, I don't know. My daughter is with Christine.
So where's Christine?
How do you know she's with Christine?
Because last time I saw her, she was with Christine. That's how I know.
And that was when?
Friday.
How do you know she's still with Christine? It's Tuesday.
What else can she be?
I don't know. That's all we're asking. If we knew that, we wouldn't even be here.
All right, so let me go home. Let's go. I'm leaving.
Because we want to do it. We're here to find your kid. If you don't want us to find your kid,
I want you to find my kid.
then help us.
So all right, take me home.
Why is she home and you're going to turn her over with us?
No, I'm saying, why am I here? That's the answer. That's why I freaked out when I was in my home. We got all these people, all these police, like an army of people coming to my. Did we went to Stephen's house like an army of people?
Well, Stephen came here.
He came here?
Yeah, we came here. We didn't ask for his house. And we're going to a different town. We're not behaving people, so.
We can't go knock on people's door by ourselves in New Haven saying, hey, we're the Antonio police. You have
All
to-
right, so I'm leaving. Am I have to run? You let me home?
Yeah, we're going to give you right home. Hold on. Let me just, I'm going to talk to my supervisor. So just keep 1 second.
Okay.
All right?
It was hard to also just trying to find your daughter. And it just didn't seem like you were, you
So
didn't seem
I'm
that
not
sure.
talking about what you guys is talking. I'm going with the conversation that I'm having.
Right, and stuff doesn't have that- your first
We're
practice.
trying to cry for my daughter, cry for Christine, cry. She's Christine and her. They're not that close to them.
And you said you weren't close to Christine, you didn't care about her, but your daughter was extremely important. You said,
Well, I guess, yeah, but my life is the kids that you met at my house. That's what I live
okay,
at.
let's talk about them.
All right, let's talk about them.
You want to be there for them?
Yeah. So I'm going home.
Okay.
Okay. Just
Now let me think that,
give me an update.
now what happens if we never find the
That's
next
it. I'm gonna find what you mean. What happened if you never find the next one?
Because I don't know where they are. I'm saying, if I knew where they are, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. You wouldn't be having a conversation. We wouldn't
Now,
have.
Steven is not here and everybody else is not here.
Because they already were here. We already had this conversation.
All right. And what
We're not thinking about him.
what did he say? What did Steven say?
You don't know where they are.
Where is Christine and Vanessa and them?
I don't know where Christine and Vanessa are, because if we
He
knew,
asked me too. Where is she? I asked him. Where is she? I don't know.
okay,
How am I
and we asked
supposed to?
him, and he said he didn't know.
How am I supposed to be the listen maker here over here? Like, I'm the one home. You understand? I'm just trying to be as much information as possible. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
so
all I have.
we're trying to find a 1-year-old kid, and some of this information is not adding up. Doesn't make sense.
All right, so take me home.
Okay, do you want to know why you're here?
Yeah, I want to know.
All right, just come, I'll tell you.
Can you tell me that we're going out?
We'll talk more on the way home, but we're waiting for him anyway, so I can't leave without my boss.
That's your boss, he's younger than you.
So,
Is he younger than you? You're supposed to be your boss.
why, because I'm old?
Yeah. Because you got more experience, more years, and
Doesn't mean anything. Okay,
so he's the boss.
he's the boss.
Where goes he's the boss? Probably age.
Oh, that's the family. This kind of family. Do you realize? By the way, I'm talking about
So what are you saying you want to talk to him?
his boss. Who's older than him.
He's older than him.
Yeah. So you
My kids is worried, my mom is worried, everybody's worried now.
you should be.
Alright?
Well, we told your dad, you come home, you're coming home. I got away from the boss of the league. I can't bring it by myself.
What else? How you feel to call it the younger than you?
Because I live in LA. The chief is
How long you been doing this? You a detective?
25 years.
You a detective? How come you're not the boss?
I want to be the boss, I like being a detective. If I want to be boss, I'll be boss.
So you could have been the boss if you wanted to. Wouldn't the boss make more money?
Yeah. So I was about money.
I don't know.
About the way you like to do. You realize that somebody saw you leaving Christine's house today?
Huh?
You realize that somebody saw you leaving Christine's house today?
How was that?
It's not important who. Jose, want to find the case?
Today?
Well, not Tuesday, Monday. Listen, we want to find your daughter. Okay, Chris, find her. However you find her. We're at the house Monday evening. Where's your daughter? Yes.
Down, you
We go. You're going to middle school. I told him, the reason he's here is because somebody saw him leaving the house Monday.
Hold on a second, hold on. You were going? Oh, is he bringing us somewhere?
I don't know, where you want to bring us?
No, you guys taking me out?
Yeah, we're taking you home, but we're taking your clothes first.
Why? Yes. So you take it?
No, but we're gonna give you a tie-dye suit to wear home.
We're gonna get what?
A tie-dye suit to wear home.
The type bag?
A tie-dye suit.
What is that?
I'll show you in a second when you bring it in here.
The type bag?
Tie-dye.
It's material. It's nothing you're gonna wear out in public, but you're gonna wear it home, so you have clothes. You have something where you can get home, changing the pajamas or
What thing is it? Change.
I mean,
The type bag.
so this is heavy material.
So you're gonna strip me of my clothes? Why?
You were at the house today. Monday.
A tie back suit?
But then, you can call it whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, let's suppose you're staying here, and you're getting this little outfit to wear home, you can change when you get home.
Is it a outfit?
Yeah.
Let me see her.
There you go, there you go.
What is that?
Suit. What do you call it? Here. Home.
They're making clothes and that.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I thought you said you guys were saying that earlier.
There's no hurry. There's no pain involved.
So why am I gonna put that on?
What you want to go David, I don't care.
Oh, you're gonna force me to put that on? Why am I gonna put it? This is retirement. Why am I gonna put that there?
Listen, you know why we want your clothes. You know it.
This clothes?
Yeah. Where's the other clothes that we want?
I don't know. Oh, you want this clothes? All right, take it. You're gonna take me home.
You're going home. Yes. You're going home. We are taking your clothes and then we're taking your car and we're driving you back all the way home.
So how? And I'm like, all right.
All right, wait 1 second. We're getting some bags and some stuff.
Oh. This is crazy.
So you understood what I told you, right? That somebody saw you leaving the house today, Monday? Yes, you understand that?
Why don't you drive me home and I put this clothes, that clothes over there?
Because I'd rather do it here, so we don't have to worry about doing it when we're at your house.
So I'm free, how am I working in the snow or freezing?
So, when you walk outside with your shoes on, then, once you get to the car, we'll take them off.
What's in there? And you got gloves over there?
Here goes.
Huh? How are you? Fine.
All right.
Okay. What are you into the gloves on?
Keep things clean.
Stand up, please.
Yeah.
Take your sweatshirt off. Don't raise your buttons.
I'm gonna put my phone here. You guys serious? I'm taking my gloves? This is ridiculous.
You're like only ignored me when I told you someone said you leave the house. You came like I never even said it.
Yeah, put it in there.
You still do it.
I'm still doing it. If somebody's lying to you, if somebody's telling me.
See, please. How nice are your shoes?
We're gonna keep the shoes on until we get to the outside.
Okay.
Alright. Now, we take it home. What was that? Wet floor? Which one do you want my pants? This?
Yes.
You want the other clothes too? Can you keep this shirt on?
Do you have any boxers on underneath those?
No. No boxers. I want to keep you in the, can I keep that one on?
I'll need both of those.
Huh?
I will need both of those.
We're going on, just one thing.
One thing at a time. Top shirt, please.
Here's your boss? Here's your boss?
Other way around. Yeah, that shirt from me, please.
I'm not gonna keep my socks. With the shoes, come on. You want socks? That's crazy. You don't have to wear shoes for, and you take it when you're home. What's wrong? It's just socks.
Take your socks off, please.
Yeah. That's what you do. And these burgers.
All right.
Why do you have tissue between your feet?
Oh, because, look, you see, look there. You see that? It hurts. So the tissue dries out for the months. Because if it,
Are you got like athlete's foot or something?
yeah, exactly. So with the tissue, if I sweat, well, I keep the tissue to keep that dry end there.
I've just never heard of that before.
Because if I sweat, the cut gets bigger, so I'm trying to keep it dry. I move louder, you know?
Okay.
All right. Can I put my sneakers on?
Hold on.
Take away your two kids, man. Take away your two kids.
Why don't you put the suit on,
And what about the sneakers?
and you put the sneakers way over the suit until we get outside?
You guys, what are you doing?
You got bruised.
What?
On the side. All right. Right there.
There's no fight.
Where did that come from? I don't know. What about that? Where did that start from?
We're gonna have to go like this. You know, boss? Seriously? Can I use my money? I need to.
Exactly. There's a little there.
You got it, pretty much. Can you do this off for me?
Yeah, just work over the matter, see what we're at.
Where's my cell phone? Rose phone? Can you go?
We see if I can get you a later or something. You know, hang in the back. I have to go look up.
Don't worry about it.
We don't, I'm gonna warm the car first, so why don't you hang out? Why don't you go back in this thing, because I wanna make sure you want, so. So I wanna make sure you want. Right, you want to, so that's in here. I wanna make sure you want. No. I hear what you're saying. Okay.
Now, I'm sorry, Lieutenant Rolish, was that the interview that you and Detective Adcox conducted with Mr. Morales in the early morning hours of December the 3rd of 2019?
Yes.
And you took a number of items, or the department took a number of items from Mr. Morales at that time. We saw it on camera. Are you able to recall what those items were?
Yes. We took his sweatshirt. We took his two T-shirts. We took his sweatpants. We took his socks, and then later on, before we left the police department at our vehicle, we took his black sneakers.
Now, with regard to, he mentioned 2 cell phones. What happened to those cell phones?
We also took those too.
And with regard to the 2 T-shirts that he was wearing that you seized, do you recall what the size of those T-shirts were?
The 2 T-shirts were 2XL.
Now, with regard to when you and Mr. Morales and Detective Adcox left the camera, where did you go to?
At the end of the interview, after we took
Yes.
all his clothes, we went and tried to find a blanket for him. And then Steve went outside and started the vehicle, and then we brought him out to the vehicle once it was warmed up.
Okay. So now, in the interview, we saw that he had some sneakers. Did you have replacement footwear available for him at the police department?
We did not.
And with regard to the sneakers that he was wearing, was it necessary to go back outside into the snow
Yes, it was.
to get to the car?
Yes.
And did you allow him to wear the sneakers out to go back to the car?
Yes, we did.
And when you got to the car, what, if anything, happened regarding the sneakers?
Detective Adcox came over and seized the sneakers from him while I was sitting in the vehicle.
Showing you what's any of it.
Your Honor, I viewed the next exhibit. No objection.
All right, what number is that?
State 171, please, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court will accept in evidence as full, states 171, no objection.
Showing you states 171 as a full exhibit. Are these the sneakers that you seized from Mr. Morales once he returned to the patrol car?
Those are the sneakers that Detective Adcox seized.
And with regard to these sneakers, are you aware if they were ultimately sent to the state lab?
Yes, they were.
Now, can you tell us the ride back? Withdrawn. Where did you go once you were back in the patrol car?
We were in an unmarked vehicle, and we drove back to 105 First Avenue in New Haven.
Was that the same unmarked vehicle that you arrived in?
Yes.
And when you got back to 105, can you tell us what happened when you arrived?
We had Jose Morales sit in the car so we can go inside and grab him some footwear so he can walk inside and not have to walk through the snow.
During the car ride back, was there any conversation occurring between Mr. Morales and you and Detective Adcox?
There's minimal conversation.
Did he ask anything with regard to Christine Holloway or Vanessa Morales?
I don't recall him asking me that.
Now, with regard to your arrival back, when you left Mr. Morales in the car, did you go inside to retrieve him some footwear?
Yes, I did.
And did there come a point in time where Mr. Morales had footwear and entered into 105 First Avenue?
Yes, he did.
And subsequent to that, who else entered into, if you recall, into 105?
Myself, Detective Adcox, Sergeant Pereira was also there, and I think Officer Castillo.
And is there some point in time where you had a discussion with Mr. Morales and his family?
Yes.
I think, Your Honor, that this probably is an appropriate breaking point.
Okay. Court's going to stand in a 15-minute recess. Administrative Affairs. We are at this time going to interrupt and suspend the testimony of Officer Froelich with the intent that Officer Froelich will take the stand at a later time to complete his direct examination and any other examination so desired as a result of that direct examination. At this point in time, the state will be calling an additional or their next witness to the stand, okay? So I didn't want there to be confusion on your part when you saw a different witness coming to the stand and taking the stand. Please don't speculate as to why we're interrupting Mr. Froelich's testimony. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything that is of your concern, and we will get back to Officer Froelich accordingly, okay? Thank you. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. State will call Brian Hart to the stand.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or not penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your full name, spell your last name.
You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I inquire, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury who you're currently employed by?
Yes, I am employed by the FBI right now.
And what are your current responsibilities?
I'm a field photographer for the FBI, so I go out to crime scenes. I'm a forensic photographer. I do search warrants and evidentiary photography.
And how long have you been doing that for?
For 3.5 years.
Now, I want to direct your attention to December 2nd of 2019. Were you employed by the FBI back then?
I was not.
Who were you employed by?
I was employed by the Ansonia Police Department.
And in what capacity were you employed by the Ansonia Police Department back on December 2nd of 2019?
I was employed as a detective at the Ansonia Police Department.
And did you have to go through any training to become an Ansonia police officer and subsequently a detective?
Yes, I have.
Can you please just briefly explain to the jury what you had to do in order to become an Ansonia police detective?
Sure. Initial training, as any officer will go through, is the police academy. Then as time went on, I went through basic crime scene schools. I went through ballistic training, went through a lot of different types of investigative work to include eventually becoming an Internet Crimes Against Children investigator, serving hundreds of search warrants on crimes having to do with cellular technologies, with different electronics components to them, technology-related stuff. I also have a bachelor's degree in law enforcement administration with a minor concentration in international security.
Now, up to that point in 2019, how long were you working? Had you been working for the Ansonia Police Department?
For over 22 years.
Now, on that day, were you working on that day? What was your responsibilities that particular day?
So I had been working earlier in that day. My shift had ended and I had gone home.
Okay. Now, was there an occasion where you were called to respond back to the PD?
Yes, there was.
Can you please briefly describe the circumstances surrounding that?
Yes, I was contacted by my detective sergeant at that time via phone. I was a little later in the evening, and I was told that there was a homicide, that we had to respond back into work to start investigating.
And when you reported back to the PD, what were your responsibilities as you understood them at that point?
So my initial responsibility, understanding that we had a homicide scene to investigate, was to start drafting a search warrant for the address of 6.5 Myrtle Avenue in Ansonia, Connecticut.
And did you, in fact, draft that search warrant?
I did. I started initially at that time. I wasn't finished until a little bit later in the evening.
Okay. What else did you do in connection with, well, withdrawn? So what address was the search warrant for?
The initial search warrant was for 6.5 Myrtle Avenue in Ansonia.
And did you do any other search warrants in connection to this investigation?
Can I clarify?
Sure.
As a whole?
Sure.
Yes, I did.
Okay, how many did you do?
More than I can count, probably upwards of 20 to 30 search warrants.
Now, based on what you knew at the time, was the 6.5 Myrtle Ave search warrant the only one that you did on that particular day?
On that particular evening, the 6.5 Myrtle Avenue search warrant was the one that I began on.
Okay. The circumstances as you understood them on December 2nd of 2019, was there anything else that you did in connection to the decedent in this case?
Yes, we were aware that the known victim in the case, or who was believed to be known the victim in the case.
Objection, Your Honor.
All right, again, I'll strike the word victim. If you're referring to the decedent, let's keep it to the decedent or the name of the person, which is Christine Holloway.
I understand, Your Honor.
Thank
Thank you. So as we understood it at that time, the decedent, Christine Holloway, was also in the presence of a young female, 1 year old, that was missing at that time.
Okay. And in connection to Ms. Holloway, were there any steps taken by you to locate anything connected to Ms. Holloway?
Yes, I initiated exigent circumstances request to start to locate Ms. Holloway's phone.
What was the purpose of executing an exigent circumstance request?
At that time, we did not know where the child, Vanessa Morales, was. She was believed to be in danger, and
Objection,
we were
Your
on.
Well, was
It's
the
not
basis?
responsive to the question.
All right, so the question was, why were you executing an exigent circumstances request? I believe it is in response if that's the basis for the request. All right, overruled.
You can answer.
Okay. Shall I repeat my answer, or
Please.
just continue?
You could just continue.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So the exigent circumstances request was in response to the child was missing, believed to be endangered. We did not know what state she was in, and we did not know where she was located. So in order to do that, we had information from previous investigators who spoke to the fact that they had been trying to get in touch with Christine Holloway and with her phone, and that her phone was going straight through to voicemail. So that being the case, I initiated exigent circumstance request with her phone carrier, which was Verizon, in order to locate the last known locations of her phone in order to try to locate Vanessa.
And in relation to that, were you able to determine the last known location of Ms. Holloway's phone?
When I got in touch with Verizon and initiated the request, they were able to tell us that the phone was pinging in specific locations further up in Naugatuck.
Now, in addition to the exigent circumstance request, withdrawn, the exigent circumstance request, was that a request just done, requested on December 2nd of 2019?
Initially, yes.
At any point, was that expanded in any way?
Yes, it was.
And can you please explain why it was expanded?
Yes, as we continued the exigent circumstance request, I had been asking Verizon for real-time, what we would call pings, which are location information for where the phone was located. And at that time, going into the 2 o'clock, 2:30 timeframe in the morning, they were able to give us specific locations that they were able to say that the phone was located at. Following that, we began to receive less and less information from the phone, indicating that the phone's battery may have been exhausted. So what we did from there was then call back Verizon to give another exigent circumstance request to ask for the previous days, several days, going all the way back to Friday the 29th, I believe, in order to get more precise location information as to where the phone was.
And I'm going to show you just briefly. States 161, page 24. You just talked about. Can you see that, Mr. Hart?
Yeah, that's fine now that you magnified it. Thank you.
So again, you mentioned the phone pinging in the area of Naugatuck. Is this the general area where you determined the phone was pinging at or around the time of the initial exigent circumstance request?
Yes.
Okay. And after you expanded your exigent circumstance request, were you able to ever locate where this Christine's phone was?
We were not able to locate exactly where the phone was.
Okay. With regards to withdrawn, did you ever make any other, ever apply for any other search and seizure warrants as it relates to Christine Holloway's phone?
I did.
Can you please explain?
Yes, I applied for a search warrant for Verizon to basically expand the scope of the information that we were seeking and the time frame itself with Verizon in order to get call detail records and other subscriber information to ascertain the location and other evidence as may be pertaining to the case.
And did you in fact receive those documents from Verizon?
I did.
And when you received those documents from Verizon, what did you do with them?
I transferred them to FBI CAS, which is the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, in order to further evaluate the results.
And was there a specific agent you were working with back in 2019 that you sent these records to?
Yes, his name was Jim Wines, especially.
And do you know if Mr. Wines is still employed with the FBI?
He is not still employed with the FBI. He's retired.
Now, in relation to, is Christine's cell phone the only cell phone you did an exigent circumstance request for?
No, it is not.
Who else's phone did you do an exigent circumstance request for?
I also did a circumstance request for Jose Morales.
Okay, and why did you do that?
Because he was the last known person at that point to have any information as to the whereabouts of Christine or Vanessa.
And in relation to Mr. Morales' phone, did you do any search and seizure warrants in relation to any call detail records for his phone?
Yes, I did.
And did you receive those records?
I did.
And when you received those records, what did you do with those records?
I also transferred them to Jim Wines of the FBI, of the CAS team.
Now, in addition to doing the search and seizure warrants for the phones, were you aware whether or not Ansonia Police Department was able to seize any evidence from Mr. Morales' person?
Yes.
Okay. And what in particular?
They were able to seize an iPhone 6, a gray iPhone 6 from his person.
In fact, were you present during the initial seizure of evidence on December 3rd of 2019?
Yes, I was present for a portion of that seizure.
And there were other items that were seized that day?
Yes, there were.
So tell me a little about the iPhone 6. Did you do a search and seizure warrant to analyze the contents of that phone?
I did.
Okay. And was that search and seizure warrant executed on that phone?
Yes, it was.
And tell us, if you can, what, if anything, were you able to glean from the analysis of that phone?
Well, the information that we're able to take from the analysis of that phone, once the information was given back to us, was processed by the FBI, and then reports were given back to us at that point. And every phone has a specific MAC address when we talk about cellular types of technology. So this phone's particular Wi-Fi MAC address had reached back to a signal called Frontier 1312, all the way back to the date of the 29th of November.
Okay. And with regards to this particular iPhone 6, do you know whether or not it also had cell phone service at the time?
That phone did not have cell phone service.
Okay. So it was strictly a Wi-Fi phone?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, with regards to the Frontier 1312 you just mentioned, what do you mean by, what does that mean?
Okay. So if I may expand?
Sure.
All right. So I also did search warrants for a router that was located at the house of 6.5 Myrtle Avenue in two respects, one for the physical device itself and one for the subscriber information related to that device.
And in relation to those search warrants, when they were executed, what were you able to find out with regards to that specific router and subscriber information?
Okay. So the specific router, first of all, and when I say router, I also may use the term modem. I like to use them interchangeably. If I need to clarify, please let me know. The modem, it's one device with two separate functions. The modem itself had been communicating over the same IP address back to Frontier over the course of the last over a year, back into 2018. That was the first thing. Second thing was that the router itself was registered to Jose Morales with a billing address of 6.5 Myrtle Avenue, Ansonia, Connecticut. And
in relation to the iPhone 6, were you able to determine if that iPhone was in proximity to that router at all during the period of 11/29 to 12/2 of 2019?
Yes, we were able to determine that due to the iPhone's internal records, the iPhone's internal records said that it had auto-connected to the Frontier Wi-Fi of 1312 that was associated with that. And we were able to actually verify that that was the same phone by taking the Wi-Fi MAC address that the router logs had under the name of Jose's iPhone. And that router log MAC address matched the iPhone 6 that we seized from the person of Jose Morales on 12/3 in the early morning.
Okay, so in order for that iPhone to connect to the Wi-Fi, to educate us just quickly about Wi-Fi, does it have to be close, far away? How close do you have to be to the router to connect?
Well, there are two different bands on this particular router, and there are several different technologies out there. But on this particular router, there's a band that's a 2.4 gigahertz band, and there is a 5 gigahertz band. Each was named for which that they sat on. So the Frontier 1312 gigahertz band on 2.4 was just Frontier 1312, and the 5 gigahertz band was Frontier 1312_5. So phones need to be in proximity. A cellular device, an internet-capable device, needs to be in proximity of a device like a router in order to obtain a Wi-Fi address and communicate with it in order to obtain an internet connection. internet connection.
Do you know whether or not the Wi-Fi router at 6.5 Myrtle Ave was password protected?
Yes, it was.
And so if the iPhone 6 was in proximity to the Wi-Fi and it auto-connected, as you said, it would have had a password protection or a password already saved in the device itself in order to connect?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
If the iPhone 6 was in close proximity to the router that was located at 6.5 Myrtle Ave, in order for it to auto-connect, it would have had to have the password already in the device, correct?
That is correct.
Now, in relation to withdrawn, earlier in the investigation, did you have an occasion to respond to 6.5 Myrtle Ave to assist other Ansonia PD and Connecticut State Police in relation to this particular investigation?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and can you please just briefly describe to the jury what you did when you responded to 6.5 Myrtle Ave?
Yes. We had re-entered 6.5 Myrtle Avenue after Christine Holloway was initially found deceased, and we were unable to locate Vanessa. At that point, we went in under exigent circumstances, myself and one other officer. We had donned protective footwear in order to cover our boots. We had donned gloves to make sure that we kept the crime scene safe and evidence intact. Went in searching for Vanessa in places that the original patrol officers, when they went into, may not have looked. So we did a little bit more of a thorough search and looking in spaces where a child of that size may be. And in doing so, I recall passing across a couple different items in plain view in the house.
Now, one item in particular that comes to mind to you is what?
A diaper bag.
And what about that diaper bag kind of made it stick out to you, and why?
The diaper bag was very stuck out to me because there were so many things in the diaper bag that a child would need for daily care. And my question in my head became, if the diaper bag is here, then where is Vanessa?
And in particular, do you know whether or not items were seized subsequently or in the investigation into this homicide, whether or not something came to mind from that diaper bag in particular?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that?
I recall seeing a pink crock inside the diaper bag.
Hey, Counselor.
One P 172, 173, 174, 175. Your Honor, I've seen the exhibits that have been marked 172 through 175 previously. I have no objection to their introduction as full exhibits.
Would you wish to see them?
These are 172 through 175.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now with no objections, court will accept into evidence dates 172 through 175 full. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, thanks. Can you just tell us which one you put out? Thanks.
Mr. Hart, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 172. That's been marked as a full exhibit. You recognize 172?
I do.
And what is 172?
172 is a photograph that I took of an overall picture of the diaper bag, its contents, with the pink crock that I had observed earlier, a little right of center in the picture.
Is this the crock that you were referring to in your testimony just moments ago?
Yes, it was.
Showing you 173. Is this the same pink crock that you're referring to in your testimony? Just a closer up picture?
Yes, it is a closer up picture of the same pink crock that I was referring to earlier.
Now, what stuck out to you about this pink crock? Why did the pink crock kind of jog your memory with regards to your initial search into 6.5 Myrtle Ave?
Well, I recalled seeing it during my initial search, and it did stick out to me as a sole shoe, and I mean that by singular. But later on December 5th, the Connecticut State Police processed a crime scene in Hamden where a similar pink crock was found, and that was a shoe that I believe this to be the sister shoe to, if you will, presumably the matching pair.
I'm going to show you 174. Now, did you actually seize this crock at a later date from 6.5 Myrtle Ave?
Yes, I did.
Is this the packaging that you used to seize this crock?
Are you able to zoom in on the evidence label? Yes, if you look down on the bottom part of the evidence label, you will see that it is seized by Hart, Bryan.
Finally, were you able to, subsequent in this investigation, were you able to ever go to the Ansonia Police Department and review this crock that's the subject of State's 172 2, 3, and 4 next to the other crock that you say was seized by the Connecticut State Police.
Yes, I was.
Show you 175. Can you tell us what 175 is?
175 is a picture on the left-hand side, which is camera left, of the crock that I seized, and the one on the right, which appears to be the matching crock, was the crock that was seized from the Hamden crime scene by Connecticut State Police.
Now, one moment, Your Honor, please. Your Honor, may approach the witness. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 176 for identification purposes. You recognize 176?
Yes, I do.
And what is 176?
176 is an iPad with a green-colored case.
Is this the green colored iPad that was analyzed by yourself in relation to this investigation?
Yes, it was.
Is this the iPad that seems to be seized by the Ansonia Police Department from 105 First Ave on a prior occasion?
Yes, it does.
The state would offer this as a full exhibit this time.
No
Your Honor.
objection, Your Honor.
Okay, court will accept into evidence as full, states 176, no objection, thank you.
Can you see that, Mr. Hart?
I can, thank you.
Now, in relation to this case, you just testified that you recognize this particular exhibit. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what, if anything, you did in relation to this case with regards to this exhibit?
Yes, I completed a search warrant on this particular exhibit, and that search warrant, as well as the device itself, were given to the FBI for forensic download.
And do you know, in fact, whether or not the forensic download was successful?
Yes, I do.
And what, if anything, was gleaned from the forensic download in relation to this particular exhibit?
Amongst other things, thing that sticks out in my mind with this is a particular string of text messages that were found between the username of Isaac Morales 100 and the name of Christine in the device itself.
And did you have information at that time as to whether or not the defendant utilized this particular iPad?
Yes, I had been told that he utilized the iPad as often as his son Isaac, and had utilized it as often as anyone, as early, I should say, as the weekend that we were responding to that case.
Did I just have 1 second? There's multiple pages. to
Yes,
this.
yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. This starts on 1/11/14. 15, 2, 6, 7 pages through 11/29/2019. Your Honor, I've not had an opportunity to review what's been marked now as Exhibit 177. I have no objection to being entered as a full exhibit.
Okay. Thank you. Court will accept into evidence, states 177, full, no objection.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 177 in relation to page 3, in relation to one of the forensic parts of the forensic extraction from the green iPad. Can you tell us, there's a bunch of things on this document where it says Isaac Morales, 100@iCloud.com, delivered, date. Can you please explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what this means?
As far as the delivered date,
Yeah.
okay. When we're looking at the red date, as you can see a little bit further up on the screen, compared to the delivered date, red, and so on, and then a date further down that doesn't have any indicator, based on the way iPads work, or iMessage, or any text messages that are associated with Apple and iCloud, what it's doing is it's actually giving us an indication from the device itself at what time the action occurred. So if it's saying delivered, that's exactly what happened. The message was delivered to the recipient, and when we look down one more and see that it says that it's read, that means that it was read by the person who is in possession of the device at that time. So everything we're looking at right now is from the viewpoint of the person who was in possession of the iPad.
So can you please explain where there's this colloquy between Christine and Isaac Morales, 100 at iCloud.com, where it says, "Where are you? Delivered at 11/20/2019, 8:53:09 p.m. UTC -5." Can you explain, is that when it was delivered? Is that real time? Is that UTC time?
Okay, so a couple parts to your question, if I may address them one at a time. As you're looking at this particular one where you were referring to the one where it says, "Where are you?" Correct?
Yes, for example.
Okay, as an example. So this was delivered from Isaac Morales, 100 at iCloud.com on 11/20/2019 at 8:53 p.m. and 9 seconds, our time, Eastern time. Now, where you see UTC -5, that is because the device itself specifically is already set to Eastern time. And Eastern time at that time of the day sits 5 hours behind universal time coordinated, as it were, or universal coordinated time.
So if I wanted to know what the UTC time on this particular text chain, I'd have to add 5 hours?
No, you're correct. If you're looking for UTC time, you would have to add an additional 5 hours to this time.
Now, this particular text chain, you read these text chains, this text chain?
Yes, I did.
And anything else stick out to you in relation to the back and forth between the email address associated with Isaac Morales and Christine Holloway?
Yes, the text messages themselves contained intimate information and financial information that seemingly would be appropriate for two people who are in a relationship as opposed to someone who was not in a relationship talking with a child.
And again, just one more example of with regards to on 11/25 or 11/25/2019 at 11:14:30. Is that a message there that was sent to Christine by Isaac Morales 100 at iCloud.com?
Can you repeat the time so I can follow you, please?
So it's two from the top. So I'm gonna point to it right here.
Okay, got it. Yes.
Is that a message that was sent to Christine at 11:14 a.m. by this email address?
That is correct.
And the subsequent one underneath, again, was this sent about 2 minutes later on that same day?
Yes, it was.
So this message here, where it says, once the car warms up, going to Stop and Shop, then home, are we to believe that where it says read on 11/27/2019 at 11:01, that was read by the recipient or the person that had the iPad?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't know when that particular text message was sent from Christine to Isaac Morales, right?
That is correct.
Now, in relation to some of the other search warrants that you did you have an occasion to execute any search and seizure warrants with regards to the defendant and his maybe social media?
Yes, I did.
And what in particular did you do with regards to his social media?
I did search warrants on the Facebook accounts for Jose Morales' social media accounts.
Did you, in fact, when you did those search and seizure warrants, were you able to receive any information from Facebook with regards to that?
Yes, I received over 400 pages of information, responded to the search warrant.
178. Six, seven, 8 pages. 178, right? Your Honor, I've had an opportunity to review exhibit number 178, the Facebook records. I've reviewed them, and I have no objection to their introduction as a full exhibit.
Okay, is it, how many pages is it?
There's 8 pages. I'm not introducing all 400 and something.
Okay, so 8 pages of Exhibit 178. Okay, great, thank you. All right, so the court will accept into evidence as full, no objection, 178 on behalf of the state, and I believe it's 8 pages. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hart, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 178. It's now a full exhibit. This appeared to be page 1, or the certification page for the Facebook documents that you were able to obtain from Facebook.
Yes.
Now, I want want to direct your attention to actually page 1. That was the certificate page. Here's page 1. Can you tell us the significance of this particular page here?
Yeah, so amongst other things, what this does is actually verifies that the registered email for the account was josemorales00@yahoo.com.
So this was in fact the Facebook page belonging to Jose Morales.
That is correct.
Were you able to verify whether or not that particular email address was associated with the iPhone that you talked about earlier?
Yes, I was.
Directing your attention to page 3. I'm going to direct your attention to this cell phone number right here. Were you able to determine what, if anything, what, if any significance that cell phone was in relation to this particular investigation?
Yes, the number 1-203-809-2849, as it shows here on these records, is the same phone number that I did a search warrant for through T-Mobile earlier on that is connected to Jose Morales.
And direct your attention to page 5. And you remember before when you were talking about the wireless router at 6.5 Myrtle Ave? I want to direct your attention to this particular IP address here, 32.209.76.230. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
What's the significance of that IP address?
The significance of that IP address is that that is the IP address registered through Frontier to the modem at 6.5 Myrtle Avenue, and that specific connection time is showing as 15:52 and 40 seconds UTC. So if we do the math as I had been explaining before, but I can explain again if necessary, and subtract 5 hours for the time frame of UTC to change it into Eastern time, this is showing that this that this Facebook account accessed Facebook through this IP address connected to the address of 6.5 Myrtle Avenue and the modem/router that was there, and actually was last seen 15:52, which would be 10:52 a.m., shortly before the arrival of first officers to check on the welfare of Christine.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. The last time Facebook was accessed through this IP address was 10:52:40.
Guess that is the last time that the Facebook server saw this phone, or this account connected to their servers.
I'll just direct your attention briefly to page 13. Again, page 13 indicating the Facebook account holder in a relationship with somebody when this was created.
Yes, when this production was created, it showed that the Facebook account holder was in a relationship with Christine Holloway with a unique user identification number next to that, which corresponds with the Facebook profile of Christine Holloway, the decedent, and an anniversary date of 5/30 of 2016.
You have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Direct your attention to page 32 of the Facebook records. See it up there when it says "About Me"? What does that mean, "About Me," with regards to Facebook?
A person can input anything they'd like to describe themselves on their Facebook account.
So, in these particular records, this indicates that this person plans all the way to the end. The ending is everything to him. Right?
Yes.
Page 33. I'm going to direct your attention. This right here, 12/1/2019. Can you tell us what this means here? 12/1/2019 at 23:56 UTC. Jose Morales and Eduardo Quinones are now friends. Can you tell us what that means?
Yeah, so if we do the time conversion, as I had spoke about before, and subtract 5 hours away from this in order to bring it into Eastern time, we're looking at what would be 5 hours earlier in the day on December 1st of 2019, at which time Jose Morales accepted a friend's request from the user ID of Eduardo Quinones.
Now, my math isn't that good, but does that mean at 7:53 p.m. on 12/1 of 2019 he accepted a friend request from Mr. Quinones?
That is correct.
Finally, page 56, directing your attention to this particular thread here, where it says 12/3/2019 at 58:29 UTC. Christine missed your video chat. Can you just tell us what that means in relation to, what's the actual time? What does that mean in case you call?
Yeah, so if we subtract again 5 hours off of what would be 12:58 a.m., 00:58 a.m. at 29 seconds, if we subtract 5 hours, we're looking at 7:58 p.m. on December 2nd of 2019, indicating that Christine's Facebook ID had missed a video chat from Jose Morales' ID.
Okay. So through the messenger, Mr. Morales would have video chatting with Christine Hollis.
You would have sent a video chat, correct?
Let's have one moment, Your Honor, please. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Attorney Cross?
How are you?
How are you?
Very good. Should I refer to you as Detective Hart, or should I refer to you as Special Agent Hart?
I'm not a special agent, sir, so however you prefer.
Okay, I'm going to refer to you, and I don't mean to be offensive, as Detective Hart, because you were a detective for a long time in the Ansonia Police Department, correct?
That would be fine, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Detective Hart, I went through all the police reports, and you did a ton of work in this investigation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to go back to everything that Attorney Durso just entered into evidence with you, but I want to start off just chronologically in regard to what the police reports indicate to see if that's consistent with your recollection of your involvement in regard to the investigation regarding the death of Christine Holloway. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So on Tuesday, 12/3, was that your first involvement in this matter?
It was not.
Okay. I want you to tell the jury what your first involvement was.
I responded to work on Monday, 12/2, having been called in.
Yeah. Okay. And that was to the Ansonia Police Department. Is that correct? And you were a member of the Detective Bureau. I'm sorry, you have to answer out loud.
I was just waiting for you to finish your question.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So you were called in to the Ansonia Police Department, and approximately what time did you get to the Ansonia Police Department on Monday?
I don't recall the exact time, but I do recall that there was a snowstorm, and I probably got there somewhere between 9:30 and 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. Was there somebody assigned as a lead investigator or a supervisory investigator at that time, sir?
Yes.
Who was that?
I reported to Detective Sergeant James Froelich.
Okay, terrific. And you had other detectives in the DB, in the Detective Bureau at Ansonia at that time, correct?
That is correct.
Right, and I know at least one of the detectives was out on a medical leave, and another detective was assigned to a task force. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so how many, besides Detective Sergeant Froelich and yourself, how many other detectives were involved in the investigation at that very early stage?
Can I go by name?
Sure.
Okay. Detective Sergeant Froelich, myself, Detective Esposito, and Detective Tresser.
Okay. And how about Detective Adcox? Do you recall him?
Yes, I apologize. Detective Adcox as
No,
well.
that's okay.
Yes.
It's 5 years ago. It's okay. So you go to the Ansonia PD, and then what happens next for you? What's your involvement next, sir?
My initial involvement, as I said, was to start drafting a search warrant for the premises at 6.5 Myrtle Avenue.
Okay. And that was because you wanted to have lawful authority to go into the premises, correct?
That is correct.
Right? The premises had already been entered into by officers from the Ansonia Police Department, correct?
Correct.
Right? Okay. And then you wanted to go to a neutral magistrate to go ahead and get permission to re-enter the location at 6.5 Myrtle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you said you started to do the search warrant. Were you called away before you were able to complete that search warrant, sir?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And where'd you go?
I went back to the residence at 6.5 Myrtle Avenue.
Okay. And you told us that you entered the property at that time,
Yes, I did.
correct? Okay. And you were only there for a short period of time, I take it.
Correct.
Okay. And then you exited and secured the premises, correct?
Yes,
Nobody could get into 6.5 Myrtle at that time, correct?
that is correct.
All right, great. And then did you return to the Ansonia PD at that point?
I don't recall.
Okay. Well, you told us that you started to prepare a search and seizure warrant. Did you complete the application for the search and seizure warrant?
I did.
Okay. And when did you do that, sir?
That would have been later on in the day on now going into December 3rd,
Okay, which was the Tuesday, is that correct?
to the best of my recollection.
Okay, you told us that you had contacted Verizon to do an emergency situation disclosure, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, just tell us what the emergency situation disclosure is.
Emergency situation disclosure is the exigent circumstance that I explained to you earlier when we are operating under emergency authority to care for somebody's well-being and making sure that no one is hurt. So it is one of the exceptions to the search warrant rule, allowing us to enter into a premise or search a thing in order to check on the welfare of an individual, in this particular case, a child.
Okay. So you submitted to to Verizon, for example, in this case, and then you have to wait for a response from them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And because it is an emergency situation, there's urgency to it, and you request that information come as soon as possible to you. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. All right. And that happened in this case, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Now, I want to call your attention to the 3rd, December 3rd, which was Tuesday. Did you also attend an interview with Jose Morales on December 3rd in the early morning hours at the Ansonia Police Department?
I briefly attended a portion of the interview. I stepped in when I was called in there.
Okay. Why don't we do it this way? Why don't you just tell us what you did when you were called into the interview?
Okay. I was called into the interview room to seize certain items from Jose Morales by the 2 detectives that were in there at the time.
And could you just identify the 2 detectives?
They were Detective Stephen Adcox and Detective Sergeant Jim Froelich.
Okay. And Detective Sergeant Froelich was there, and I just want to walk through this slowly and see if I have it correctly. You came in because Morales was there voluntarily, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And he had requested to leave, correct?
I do not know.
That's fine. But when you came in, you were chartered to go ahead and take items of his clothing, his cell phones, and his shoes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And how did you do that?
They were given to me.
Okay. You went into the interview room, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And Adcox and Froelich were there, correct?
Correct.
Right. And Morales, in your presence, was told he wasn't free to leave until he went ahead and provided the Ansonia Police Department with his clothing and his cell phones. And there was an issue with his shoes because it was snowing outside. Is that fair?
That is unfair.
Okay. What's incorrect about that?
You told me that he wasn't free to leave. I was not privy to any part of that conversation.
You weren't part and parcel of any of that?
I do not recall those words being used that you used.
Okay. Well, was in your presence, and you may not have been there, but was Morales instructed that he had to go ahead and give his clothing and his shoes and his cell phones prior to returning to 105 First Avenue?
That also is only partially to my knowledge.
Okay. I'm not trying to trick you. What do you mean partially to your knowledge?
You used the words before he was able to leave or something to that effect.
Yeah.
I do not recall those words being used. I do know that he was asked to give the items that you discussed, but you're talking about voluntariness.
Detective Hart, Morales couldn't walk out of the Ansonia Police Department at 4:35 or 5 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday the 3rd, absent providing his cell phone and his clothes to the officers. Is that fair?
I don't know that that's fair. He was free to leave at any time that he wished, from my understanding. But again, I was not part of that interview.
I don't want to mince words with you. He was free to leave as long as he provided his clothes and his cell phone. Is that fair?
Objection at this point has been asked and answered.
I don't think it has.
I'll allow it. Overruled.
If you recall.
Okay, I was not part of the interview process. I was asked to come down there to seize items that were in his possession, and that is all I know about this situation.
Okay, right. So you came in to go ahead and inventory the items that were taken from Morales. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have any conversations with Morales at that point?
I don't recall.
Okay, all right. And then you had to go ahead and catalog those items for evidentiary purposes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And then I take it that you did not go ahead and transport Morales back to New Haven after you had inventoried the items that were seized from him.
That is correct.
Okay, all right. Was that the end of your involvement with Mr. Morales on that morning?
To the best of my recollection, yes.
Oh, all right, okay. We're going to move on. We're going to move on from there, okay? Now, it looks like you went ahead and you interviewed a witness named Justin Gasso in Weston, Connecticut on that Tuesday as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And who did you do that interview with?
Detective Tresser.
Okay. And that was for information that you wanted to obtain from Mr. Gasso regarding his observations. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when was that done on that Tuesday? Because you had started early in the morning. When was that done?
I don't recall the exact time, later at night.
Okay, later at night, okay. And then, can I go to the next day, all right, which is the 4th, which is Wednesday the 4th? Okay, just orient you there. Is that the time that you went back to 6.5 Myrtle to obtain the information on the modem, the wireless router? Is that correct?
I would have to refresh my recollection with my report, but if that is what my report indicates, then that is correct.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
If I show you your report, would that help refresh your recollection, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Take your time. Thanks.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Sure. Was it on the 4th that you returned to 6.5 Myrtle Avenue to obtain the information that you discussed previously regarding the modem and the wireless router?
That is when I observed the router.
Okay, all right. And I'm only talking to you about the 4th now, okay?
Yep,
All right.
that's why I'm trying to-
Yeah, okay. Why don't you just tell us what you did on the 4th?
Well, let's ask him if it refreshes his recollection and then take the document he can't.
Oh, yep, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need that document to refresh your recollection?
If you wouldn't mind for another moment.
Well, he can't read from the document, so if you ask the question, he can refer to the document. Why don't you take time to read the document and then let the attorney know if it refreshes your recollection, then hand it up.
Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, just for clarification, is this a separate copy for your own records
Yes,
of the same report?
yes.
Okay. My recollection is refreshed, but I may need to refer to it later on if you have other questions.
Okay, that's
May I
fine.
just approach,
Yes,
Your Honor?
yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Detective, I have all your reports, so if you need to refresh your recollection, I know it's been a while, just let me know and I'll give you the report. Okay. Now you've had an opportunity to have your recollection refreshed based on your report. And do you recall what you did at 6.5 Myrtle?
Yes, I entered the residence under the existing search and seizure warrant and photographed the modem as it was laying on the table.
Okay. And that was important to the investigation, was it not?
Yes,
Yeah, the information contained on the modem that you testified to on direct examination, you had to locate it first, correct?
yes, sir.
Right, and then you would have gone ahead and you would have analyzed the modem or other devices for evidentiary purposes. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, so you recall going in and you recall photographing the modem. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was located in the living room, correct?
To the best of my recollection, yes.
Okay. Now, and did you also photograph a white hairbrush at that time?
Yes,
Okay. And did you seize that item?
I did.
You took it?
Yes.
Okay. And was that introduced and cataloged as evidence regarding the investigation in this case, sir?
Yes, it was.
Okay, terrific. Now, on 12/4, okay, which was Wednesday now, okay, do you recall applying for a search and seizure warrant for the gray iPhone?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what did you do in regard to that search and seizure warrant?
Can you clarify the question?
What steps did you take to get the search and seizure warrant?
I documented all the information that we had up until that point, including the information about where the iPhone was located, where it was seized from, and the information that may be contained therein. There was evidentiary purposes for the investigation.
Sure.
And I submitted that with the co-affiant to be evaluated by the prosecutor and judge in order to get it signed and ultimately served.
Right, and both of those were signed off by the state's attorney's office, correct?
Yes,
And then it went to Judge Pearson, I think was the judge, is that correct?
if that's what it says in the document, I would imagine there.
Okay, a judge, it went to a judge, and it gave you lawful authority to go in and seize the phone at that point, correct?
It gave us lawful authority to search the phone at that time.
Yes, seize and search the phone, I agree, okay. All right, thank you. So that was the 4th. There also appears, sir, to be some contact on the 4th for a search and seizure warrant for Verizon for Christine Holloway's phone. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and tell us what you did in that regard.
Same information sought, call detail records for Christine Holloway's phone through the carrier Verizon for subscriber information, location information, as well as several other factors that would give us information as to the location, condition, status of the phone.
And now, for purposes of interaction with Verizon, you now had an executed search and seizure warrant from a judge of the Superior Court, correct?
Yes.
Right? Okay, it wasn't the emergent circumstances where you didn't have the warrant previously. Now you had the warrant and you advised them that you had a warrant.
That is correct.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to stick on the 4th, if you wouldn't mind, which is Wednesday. Did you also go through the same exercise for the Morales T-Mobile phone?
I don't recall the date, but I did.
Okay. May I approach the witness? Would your report help refresh your recollection?
It would, thank you.
Sure. Take your time.
Thank you. My recollection is refreshed.
Okay. Did we go through the same exercise with T-Mobile on the Morales phone?
Would you need this back, sir?
I'll take it back, yeah.
I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Two different carriers, Verizon and T-Mobile, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so you wanted to get the records for the Christine Holloway phone and the Morales phone. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to call your attention to the 9th, okay? Monday the 9th, the following week, okay? Do you recall preparing a request for analysis for the Connecticut State Police?
Can you be more specific?
Sure. Do you recall completing a DESPP request for analysis?
To be fair, I completed many of those, so I
it
just
help-
want to make sure what document I'm talking to.
Would it help if I showed you your police report?
That would, thank you.
May I approach around? Thank you. Take your time.
My recollection is refreshed.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Do you recall completing the request, the DSS request for analysis?
I do.
Okay. And that was for various items, was it not?
Yes, it was.
And just tell the jury in your own mind, in your own words, sir, when you make an application for forensic analysis, where does it go? Who does it? Who requests it? What's the process?
So the general process, as I know it, is the evidence itself is taken from our secure evidence storage, and then it is transported by our evidence officer or another designated officer to the lab, where then the specific request that we're asking for is carried out.
Okay. And who was the specific request directed to in this case for this analysis?
That would be whoever handles those specific items.
In the Connecticut State Police or the lab?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And you don't ask a specific individual to go ahead and do the analysis, correct?
I do not.
Yeah, you just made the application. Okay, now, let's stay on Monday, 12/9. Did you start to do an analysis in regard to where the Holloway phone was located at that point?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and you had the data at that point, and I know that you were working with the FBI. I understand that, and the CAST report is in evidence. You were shown the CAST report. Did you have an opportunity to go ahead and try to track the Holloway phone at that time?
I did.
Okay. May I just grab an exhibit, please? Do you have what exhibit number? What number was that?
I think it was double A.
Okay. Can you double A, please?
I have no objection to that, Your Honor.
All right, court will accept into evidence. Counsel, what is the marking?
Your Honor, this is double A.
Okay, double.
Defendant's double A.
Double A on behalf of the defense. It appears to be a photograph. No objection. Thank you.
Detective, just give me 1 second. We're going to put what's been marked as defense double A up on the board, and try not to get anyone seasick. Detective, can you see that on the screen okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. You prepared this map that's been marked as a full exhibit, double A, excuse me, by the defense, did you not?
I did.
Okay, and I want you to just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that cluster of red markings up in the Naugatuck area are.
That is a cluster of markings that was taken from the location information throughout the exigent circumstance and also the search warrant information provided by, you're speaking directly to Red, correct?
Yes.
Provided by the cell phone carrier as far as the location of Christine Holloway's phone.
All right. And do you recall, sir, at what time the tracking information showed that cluster of hits up in the Naugatuck area? What date and time, if you recall?
I do recall, but if I could use my report to refresh my recollection, it would be helpful.
Okay. Well, would it help to refresh your recollection with your report?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor? Sure. Thanks, Pete. Let's get to the last page, okay? 24, 24, okay. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna put this one up there, okay? Just hold on to that. What exhibit is that? 161.
Thank you.
Does that help refresh your recollection?
It does. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, so just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, when you prepared this diagram here showing the red dots up in the Naugatuck area, what date and time frame was that?
That started on December 2nd in the morning hours. Again, would have to refresh my recollection with my report for a specific time, but that was eventually carried through the day on 12/2.
Oh, okay. Do you need your police report back?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
So that was Monday, 12/2. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're right. Okay. And just tell us, on Monday, 12/2, Christine Holloway's phone was tracked from what time to what time?
Well, it started with my exigent circumstances request. That was occurring at about 2 to 2:30 in the morning throughout the remainder of the remainder of that time before the phone died.
Okay. Just what hours? I'm sorry. We're talking about Monday, 12/2. What hours did the tracking indicate that this Christine Holloway's cell phone was hitting the towers in the Naugatuck area?
I understand your question, sir, but it is fairly technical. If I could refer back to my report for times.
Absolutely. Sure.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let me ask the question again.
Okay.
Did you refresh your recollection with your report?
I did.
Okay. And just tell ladies and gentlemen of the jury what time frame we're talking about that the Holloway cell phone was interacting or transmitting with the cell towers in the Naugatuck area.
Okay, that would be between 2:15 and 2:31. However, what we're looking at here is not an accurate representation of those small periods of time.
Okay. What does that, the exhibit, what does it reflect?
all the time prior to 12/2.
Okay. You saw the cast report, did you not?
I have not had an opportunity to review the cast report.
Okay. Mr. Mestri, could you put on, I think that is exhibit, that is, excuse me. Peter, what number is that? I'm sorry?
161.
Your Honor, just for reference, we're putting up, which is a full exhibit, the cast report, which is exhibit 161. Okay. Have you seen that diagram before regarding the analysis? This is a full exhibit. Have you seen this diagram before regarding the analysis of the Holloway phone, also showing transaction history in the area of Naugatuck, Connecticut?
Yes.
Okay, and that is, the cast report and your report are consistent in that they show the Holloway phone interacting with cell towers in the Naugatuck area through various times. I know you didn't author that report, but both of them are consistent that there was activity between the Holloway cell phone and the cell towers in Naugatuck. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. You can give those to Jackie. Thank you, Peter. Okay. I'm gonna just go through finish up the activity here, and you stop me at any time if you need to refer to your report, okay?
Thank you.
All right. So it looks like then, also on Monday, 12/9, there was a third warrant applied for and granted for 6.5 Myrtle. Is that correct?
You're showing the date is 12/9?
Yes, sir. Would you like to see your report?
I would,
Your Honor?
please.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does that refresh your recollection, sir?
It does.
Okay, and that was the third warrant for 6.5 Myrtle, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and just tell us what you did. You actually went to 6.5 Myrtle and took some photographs. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what else did you do?
I see certain items of evidentiary interest throughout the time at 6.5 Myrtle Avenue.
Okay, and that's because you had the third warrant to go and lawfully enter into 6.5 Myrtle and search and seize items that you thought had evidentiary significance.
Correct.
Okay, and what would you have done with those items after you seized them?
Package them, seal them, and eventually place them in the evidence room.
Great. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next day, which is Tuesday, December 10th, okay? Did you, sir, at that time also complete a search and seizure warrant application for the iCloud backup associated with the Apple iPhone?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you applied for permission to go ahead and obtain that information?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and that was granted, was it not?
Yes, it was.
And just tell us in your own words, how did you obtain that information?
Which information specifically are you asking about, sir?
You wanted to get information regarding the Morales cell phone as well as the Holloway cell phone, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and just tell us what you did and what happened as a consequence of that.
Can I refer to my report?
Oh, sure, absolutely. May I approach, Your Honor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. Detective, calling your attention to the search warrant for the Tuesday, 12/10 for the email addresses. What did you do in regard to the application, and did you receive any information for your investigation?
Yeah, so as you can see in my report, there are numerous email addresses that I researched and sought to each individual company, whether it be Google, Apple for iCloud, so on and so forth, if there was any information that was of evidentiary purposes for our case. There were some that didn't provide any actual records back. But same process is followed with my previous search warrants in checking with those companies to see if there was anything of investigative interest.
Great. So you received information regarding the email addresses at that point, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move forward here. Do you recall also the following day on the 13th, which was Friday, did you go through the same exercise for voicemails, get lawful authority to go ahead? Would you like to review your report?
Yes,
Did
I
you
recall.
it?
No, I do recall.
Yeah, you recall it. Okay, and that was to obtain the voicemails from the phones, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and what was the importance of the voicemails?
The voicemails may have information contained in them that would further be evidence of the crime that we were investigating.
And did you obtain that information from the providers?
Yes, I did.
Okay, for your analysis and investigation?
Correct.
Okay, great. I'm going to go on to Saturday now, which was the 14th. Do you recall authoring a report regarding the sealing dates of the applicable warrants?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and why did you go ahead and write that report, sir?
That was to keep track of when each warrant was signed, as well as how long the period was, believed to be 14 days, if I recall correctly, for each individual warrant to when the warrant would be released.
Okay. Sir, on the 18th, did you have an opportunity to go ahead and review some past text messages? I'll withdraw the question. It's really, I'll withdraw the question. Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. All right. On December 18th, it looks like, did you have an opportunity to analyze the T-Mobile data from Jose Morales' cell phone 203-809-2849?
Which data are you speaking about, sir?
This was December 18th.
Which specific data from T-Mobile?
I'm sorry.
Can you
regarding
clarify the
Morales'
question?
phone?
I understand you're asking about his phone. I'm just asking you to clarify which data you're asking me about.
The report indicates 12/18 that you analyzed the T-Mobile data and from Jose Morales' cell phone. Did you do that at some point? I'm not concerned with the date.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. And then did you also, sir, have an opportunity to go ahead and review messages from the iPad with the green cover that you identified previously?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you went through that analysis, correct?
I did.
And then we go into January, and it looks like you had additional information at your disposal at that point, and you had done a Christine Holloway phone location analysis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then a couple of weeks later, you also, and just to call your attention, this would have been January 31st, 2020. Did you also do a similar analysis on Jose Morales' black LG phone?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just one second, Your Honor. And, sir, do you recall back in February 27, 2020, do you recall tracking information regarding text messages between an individual named Hector Rodriguez and Jose Morales?
I do not recall.
Okay, may I approach, Your Honor? Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you recall undergoing that exercise?
Yes.
Just tell ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in regard to the investigation regarding the death of Christine Holloway, what was the significance of the text messages between Jose Morales and Hector Rodriguez?
I'm going to object and call for a hearsay response.
All right, let me just ask the jury to step out for a moment, and I'll hear that because you're claiming it, you're objecting. I'm going to ask the jury to step out for a brief moment. We'll be right back. All right, I asked the jury to step out because I know I believe that this was the subject to an earlier motion in limine, so I think it's going there, but I'm not sure. So, counsel, your objection?
Obviously, I can't read the detective's mind, but
Well, the question was regarding the importance of the text to the investigation.
right, and my concern is that it may elicit a hearsay response with regards to what either Mr. Morales told Mr. Rodriguez or vice versa.
Okay.
It's hearsay, it's not admissible.
Okay, Attorney Gavin?
I'm not asking to solicit any hearsay response. I'm just asking part of the team that was part of this investigation what the significance was in reviewing the text messages between Morales and Rodriguez.
All right, so for purposes of this answer, I will instruct the witness that if I allow you to answer, sir, please do not state to us what other persons stated. All right, so if you can answer the question without doing that, then that's fine. If you're unable to answer the question doing that, please tell me now.
In terms of anybody, Your Honor? Like,
Regard-
not to mention anybody within
What was the
the-
relevant? Why don't we see how it plays out?
Okay.
What was the relevant importance? I believe was the question of the text to the investigation regarding the death of Christina Holloway.
Yes, Your Honor. It was to investigate to see if there was any information within those text messages that gave us more information to investigate or other information to follow.
Okay, there's no hearsay in that.
It's fine.
And then I would just follow up and say, what information did you find in your analysis of the text messages?
And I think that would call for a
That-
hearsay response.
I don't think so. I'm not asking what any, I don't, excuse me, withdraw. I don't believe that this gentleman ever spoke with Mr. Rodriguez or spoke with Mr. Morales, so it's not a hearsay objection. I just want to know what the result of his analysis was.
Okay, so there was an analysis conducted?
Yes, it's in
So far all I have is he does the search warrant. I understand the relevance of the search warrant. And then are you looking for the results of the search warrant at this point?
Your Honor, if I may just grab my report here. It's just in regard to this officer's investigation regarding outgoing text messages between Rodriguez and Morales and what that showed. Not in regard to what anyone said to him or anything along those lines, because I don't think he ever spoke with anyone, or there's no indication of that.
All right, so your concern is?
Well, what it showed is there was communication between this individual by the name of Hector Rodriguez and
Okay,
Mr. Morales.
okay.
Outside of that, to tell us what the text message says, hearsay.
Okay, so I don't have a problem with if it shows there was communication, but we can't discuss the statements. Okay, so you understand, sir, that these questions are going to be asked before the jury. A statement that someone else made outside this court for the truth of the matter is hearsay. That's not allowed. So the state is trying to ward off in your response that type of answer where you're talking about what someone else who's not here testifying stated. I don't believe these questions lead to that type of answer. The state was worried that it did. The way that they were presented by counsel does not lead me to believe that that calls for an answer that would include hearsay. So I am going to go ahead and allow the questions to proceed the way that they've been presented relative to the proffer on the objection outside the presence of the jury. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
All right. We'll bring the jury back in. So for those reasons, the objection is overruled.
Thank you.
Rob. Thank you.
State stipulate the principle.
Thank you.
Stipulate the presence.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. Detective, just last questions here. Am I correct that you never interviewed Mr. Morales at any time?
That is correct.
Yeah. And individual by the name of Hector Rodriguez from New Haven, am I correct that you didn't interview that individual as well?
I did not.
Okay. Do you recall authoring a report back in February 27, 2020, and I can show it to you, regarding your analysis of the text messages between Hector Rodriguez and Jose Morales?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And do you need to see the report? If not, no? Okay.
No, thank
So
you.
you recall doing that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what was the evidentiary or investigatory significance of going ahead and analyzing those messages?
We're analyzing those messages to see if there was any other information or investigative leads to follow in this case.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I know that was a lot of reports we went through. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any redirect? Attorney
No, Your
Joseph?
Honor, thank you.
All right, sir, you may step out of the witness box. Thank you. You're all set.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Counsel, this is a good time to adjourn for the day.
We could.
Yeah, because we won't get through the witness.
All right.
The rest of direct and cross-examination.
That is
By
correct.
the end of the day, and it's already 17 after 4.
That's correct.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are going to adjourn for the day. Thank you for your patience with the continued process. Also, please leave your notepads behind, and we will see you back tomorrow morning, same time at 9:30 for the continued evidence in this matter, okay?